Hi there guys, so this is just a bit of a welcome introduction, an impromptu video on Boxing Day, would you believe? I typically spend Boxing Day every year actually on my own. I've done that ever since I separated from my ex-husband. He always took the children on Boxing Day to their aunties in London, and I would go into town, have a quiet browse around the shops, and then go and sit in a cafe or a restaurant with my reading books and also with my planning stuff for the following year. And as the time went on, I decided to kind of develop on the planning tools that I was using then and to start creating my own ones based on the approach that we use in our work, because why wouldn't I? I always am very clear that I like to practice what I preach, or walk the talk, or whatever you like to call it, and that's exactly what I do. So today has been a slightly different day. I dropped the boys off at their dad's sort of lunchtime, and then I sort of came home and had a bit of a rest, and then I did some reading, and then I did some bits of planning too. And so it wasn't vastly different, I just didn't leave the house. But to be honest with you, I don't know what it's like where you are. I'm in the southeast of England and it's blowing an absolute gale out there. So you are joining me from what everyone likes to call the woman cave, which is a room across my garden where I have everything that I need: a bed, a fridge, a microwave, books of course, and my writing desk. And it's lovely and cosy in here, but I do get blown about a bit every time I go across the garden back into the house. So that's what I've been doing today. It's, as I said, for those of you who have read any of this at all yet, it's the perfect time for us to sit down and reflect, and particularly in this period between Christmas and New Year, where quite a lot of people are just sort of twiddling their thumbs waiting for the new year to start, not really sure what to do. It's a really good time to sit down and think about the year ahead. And I don't want to dodge the elephant in the room, but equally I don't want to make a huge massive thing about what's happened in 2020, but of course we can't ignore it. And I think for that reason it's going to be particularly valuable for people this year to do this type of planning. But actually it's going to be particularly valuable for people this year to do reflection, and to reflect really honestly and really frankly and really carefully and mindfully about what's happened in 2020. And there's a way that to do reflection, which helps us to avoid that kind of place where we might feel a bit self-pitying, a bit sorry for ourselves, wallowing in the whole, oh, it was so awful, it was so terrible, I've had such an awful year, and bad things always happen to me, and all that sort of thing. We need to have a really constructive way of reflecting on the year that's been, to make sure that we, as far as is possible, don't repeat the things that we could have done differently or better. So obviously, to all intents and purposes, in a lot of ways, some of what's happened has been out of our control, and well, a lot of what's happened has been out of our control. But that's only the kind of practical aspects. So if people have lost jobs, if people are struggling financially, if people are lonely and isolated and worried, or if people are really afraid, health anxious about catching something, whilst we could say, well, that's out of my control, what we can always do is gain some command over how we deal with those things. And that's something that we really have full responsibility for. So whilst things might have been, outwardly difficult and in some cases maybe tragic, we can still, like we would with any difficult life situations, life events, anything challenging that happens to us in our lives, we can still do an awful lot about looking at how we are reacting to those situations and how we are thinking about those situations and how we are finding solutions to work through those situations. So that's why it's going to be really, really important to grab hold of that reflection part of the worksheet, and I think we'll have quite a few we can have quite a few discussions about that and how that's working for us. And by all means, I'm happy to come on and to help you and coach you through reframing that. And what we mean by reframe, that's kind of a coachy term that a lot of people use, or a therapeutic term. Actually, in therapy we use that term. A reframe means that we look at something, we look at how it is and how our initial reaction to it, how it's impacted us, and then we literally sort of turn it around and we start to look at how we can think about it differently. Perhaps there maybe have been some benefits to what has actually happened, or certainly some lessons that have been taken from it, and that's called a reframe. And we can certainly, plan our lives going forwards in a way that reframes our past in a lot of ways. And even in the therapeutic approaches that we use, we can do that with our whole life. It doesn't matter whether it's on this year or whether it's what's happened to us in our lives. We can always do that, sort of turning around that reframe, call it. So the first thing to do then is to have a read of your planner. If there's anything in there that you don't understand or you want to ask me about, then by all means, just type in the comments below. So I've actually already started mine. I've done my first page of reflections, and that's the bit about getting things out of the way that we want to say about this year already. And actually you'll see I've actually gone over the page, and I've written some things on the back because I'm a bit of a prolific writer and there's never enough space in these things for me. But that's up to you. You can write in bullet points, or one word list, or whatever, however you want to do it, that's fine. So what I kind of want to achieve in this group is to look at some of the things that we can gain from doing this kind of work. So something that I'll focus on, and I'll be looking at certain themes throughout the next few days and few weeks, and my sense is that we'll sort of be here as a group doing this for about 4 weeks, doing the actual worksheet. And I'm happy to keep this group going if people are getting on well with each other, or if we want to keep this support going. I'm happy to keep this group open, and what I'd like to see is people interacting with each other and supporting each other using these tools. And the idea is that we're going to talk a lot about some of the ways that we can harness our imagination, and I will do a little video about the imagination because it's actually our most powerful resource that we all have, and we can actually use our imagination to our advantage, or it can be our worst enemy, because worry is a misuse of our imagination. Worry is when we use our imagination to visualize and see all the worst things that can happen, all the bad things that can happen, and what we think eventually turns into our emotions. And that's why we can feel so low and so anxious about things, because we're imagining, what if I get sick, what if someone else gets sick, what if they die, what if they have to go into hospital, blah 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 blah, all this sort of thing. And when we're in fear and worry, the emotional part of our brain takes over the thinking part of our brain, and what happens is we lose the ability to be able to think calmly and clearly about how we're going to find solutions to the challenges, but also it can make us very irrational. And the kind of definition that we use of irrational is when we have a type of thinking that leads us away from our goals. So it's a type of thinking that means that it's not going to be conducive to us moving forward, achieving our goals and leading the kind of life that we want to lead in the future. So when we're being rational and calm, we're calming that emotional side, we're bringing the thinking brain back online, and we're able to weigh up pros and cons much better. So we're able to look at the risks versus the advantages and things like that, the risks and the benefits, and to adjust to our natural level of risk and use information that we have, knowledge that we have, or look for information that can inform us a bit better, so we're not always living in fear. And that's one of our big goals for this group, is that we're going to learn how to harness the power of the imagination so that we can produce the results that you need to achieve your vision. And what we're going to come out of at the end of this is some kind of vision. Now, it doesn't have to be some big holy mission. It can be something really tiny. But if you have a vision of what you want your life to look like next year, then that vision is going to pull you forwards. And that's what we are looking for, because when we don't have a vision, we become aimless and we could become directionless, and that's when the fears and the worries and everything distract us. But if we've got a clear vision, we can always keep that in mind and head for that vision. And in actual fact, as I say, it's the vision that pulls you forward. And then all we need to do, goals or intentions, are really just the little steps that we can take from where we are now to where that vision is. Okay, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to break it down. So we can learn how to basically come through the scattered clutter of everything that's happened in the previous year. We might be feeling a bit all over the place, very scattered, very cluttered. And then we can move into the year feeling clear, confident and motivated. And it's the vision that's going to keep you motivated. If you don't have a vision, you can't possibly feel motivated. You're not going to be able to generate that energy that's needed to get you out of bed and keep going the next day. So we're also going to learn about how to take effective action, because ultimately you can have the best plan in the world, but if you don't take action on it, then nothing's going to happen. So it's actually taking the action based on the vision and the goals and the plans that leads to your success. So that's what we're going to look at. But also, being part of this group means that you've got other people to hold you to account. So I like to bring together fairly small groups that can be nice and supportive and kind of have a shared aim. And our shared aim here really is that we want to achieve success in 2021. And that might sound really vague, but each of you, I can't tell you what your success is going to be. I can't tell you what it is that success means to you. Only you can do that. And we will, whilst we're here, in addition to what's actually in your worksheets, I will be adding some other questions and some other tools to go just a little bit more deeply into what it is that we are trying to achieve. So one of the things that we can do is to look at, what does success mean for you? What does it look like? If you could stand up, or if you could go and tell your parents or your friends or your family that you are now successful, what is it that you would be telling your friends or family or parents or brothers or sisters or whatever it is for you? So the other thing is that here you will be learning skills. You will be actually learning some of the skills that is needed to improve your life. And you might want to focus on your personal life, or you might want to focus on your professional life. So you might have a small business, or you might be thinking of setting up a small business, or you might have a career, or you might want to change careers. But whatever it is, we're going to start learning some skills in this group that will help you to improve your life and your business and your health even. You might have health goals that you want to focus on. I certainly have health goals that I want to focus on, and I'm doing some of that with one of my sons. I also have a very clear vision that's pulling me forward for this year, and in actual fact, it's one of the things that, well, it's the biggest thing that has really kept me going through the year, since it has been personally a very difficult year for me as well. So we're going to learn these skills, and that's going to help you to achieve your goals, and then you can actually pass this on to your friends, your family, your colleagues, your clients, your community, or whatever. So, you know, maybe you're already doing some coaching work, or maybe you're already doing some therapeutic work, or maybe you run a community group, or maybe you have friends or family that are in need of some kind of encouragement and support. And so by learning what we're going to learn in this group, you will have a set of tools that you'll be able to share with other people. And that's one of the things, you know, Keith and I at Positive Ways have developed our own theoretical approach, but also, you know, theoretical approaches are great, but we actually need practical tools and techniques to go alongside them to implement them. So we're very practical. We're very into, okay, well, here's the idea and how can we turn that into action? And that's exactly what we've done with all of our different models that we've created. There's a set of tools. So I'll be sharing a lot of stuff with you. And as I say, this group is free, as you know. You've downloaded the worksheet, which is free. I'm not going to do a major, you know, kind of what they call in marketing an upsell. I'm not going to do a big upsell, but I will let you have the opportunity to access some of our, paid plans and paid programs at a special rate. And as I say, I'm not going to press on about that, but I will share that information with you, and it's totally up to you. If you feel that you want to continue doing some work with us together like that, then that's absolutely great, and we'd be really overjoyed to have you on board. But really, for us and for me, I'm doing this because I have experienced difficulties myself this year, as has everybody else, and I know that these tools work because I have used these tools to pull myself through this year and to kind of send myself into 2021 as well. And it works. It's worked for me, and it's worked for our clients, and it's worked for the friends and the families and the community groups in our lives as well. And so we're very much into sharing our own experiences alongside the kind of psychology behind it as well, and the therapeutic techniques too, and the coaching tools. So I'll share as much as I can. And there will be opportunities to participate in other things, and if that's something you want to do, then that would be lovely if you could join us. So it's really, really nice to have you here. I'm looking forward to more people coming into this group over the next couple of weeks, and as I say, I will keep letting people in right up until even the beginning of February, because sometimes people take a little while. They might have an initial new year, new you thing, and then kind of fall off the wagon. And we find that towards the end of sort of January, beginning of February, people are sort of going, actually, I need something a bit more robust. I need some accountability. Can't do it on my own. And so I'll be keeping this group open for as long as you want it, as long as people are interested in it. So I look forward to chatting with you all. And as soon as we've got a handful of people in this group, 3, 4, 5 maybe, then I will arrange our first Zoom call, and I will continue to put those Zoom calls on as we progress. If you'd like a chat with me in the meantime, a quick Zoom chat, then that's absolutely fine. Just drop me a message in one of the comments boxes, and that would be great, or a personal message via the chat in the Mighty Networks. Okay, I'm looking forward to working with you. Thank you.